What's up, Star Wars fans? We're the Hills Maniacs, and today we're going to be talking about the newest episode of The Mandalorian and answering the question in the title of this video: is Bo-Katan the secret villain of Season 3? So if you haven't watched the first episode of Season 3 of The Mandalorian yet, Din Jarin ends up running into Bo-Katan once more, and she basically explains that her people left her because she no longer has the dark saber, which, as we know, Mando currently has, or Din Jarin, I guess. He currently has that because he beat Moff Gideon in a battle in the last season or Season 1 or whatever?
Season 2.
At the end of Season 2. So he ended up having it, and Bo-Katan seems to be upset about that, which is what got us thinking about her being the villain of this season, because we know Din Jarin in this season is technically considered no longer a Mandalorian, as we found out in those 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett he was in.
If you didn't watch those, you're going to be confused.
Yeah. But because he's removed his helmet, they consider him no longer a Mandalorian. So his whole quest in this season is going to be to become a Mandalorian again by going to Mandalore, finding the mines of Mandalore, and bathing in the water, basically, to repent of his sins type of thing, to become a Mandalorian again. I think at some point Bo-Katan is probably going to intervene in that, because she seems like she hates Din Jarin for taking the Darksaber away from her and basically taking her status as the leader of Mandalore away, basically. I mean, she didn't have it anyways because Moff Gideon had it all this time, but she wanted it back, and then because Mando won it, we even saw at the end of Season 2 she was mad about that because he has it now and she doesn't get it. But in this episode in particular, she seemed really to resent him, and I think she's going to end up probably costing him his chance to become a Mandalorian again, or something along those lines, or there'll end up being a fight between the two of them or whatever.
Yeah.
But
and for those of you that don't know, if you didn't watch the Clone Wars series, the Darksaber was introduced, and I guess it was a lightsaber like basically blade that could withstand the power of a lightsaber, and it was created by the first Mandalorian Jedi who didn't want to follow the Jedi Order, with their beliefs and things. So he created his own type of lightsaber that could then use against the Jedi later on. And it comes into play in the Clone Wars. And Darth Maul actually wields it at one point. And then again in Rebels, where Sabine Wren, who is a member of the main group in Rebels, ends up winning it from Pre Vizsla, I think, or somebody, and ends up handing it to Bo-Katan, and then that's where Bo-Katan gets it from, and from there Moff Gideon beats her, and then Din Djarin beats him, which technically, if you go by that order, then Bo-Katan was never the rightful owner of the Darksaber to begin with. It's kind of like wands in Harry Potter. You basically have to disarm your opponent or kill them in order to become the rightful owner of their wand, or even like the Elder Wand in Harry Potter.
Right, that's what I would compare it to.
So for her to technically be the rightful owner, she would have had to have beat Sabine in a battle, not just get handed it. So in a way, Din Djarin technically isn't the ruler of Mandalore now either, because
True.
Sabine should still be the rightful owner of the Darksaber, but as of right now, there's no mention of Sabine. There's I don't think we've heard anything about her since Rebels.
She did?
I don't think
she wasn't killed or anything?
We know that she fought, or at least it was rumored that she fought alongside the Resistance, or the Rebel Alliance in Episode 6. In the battle against the Empire, because Captain Rex was involved and all this other stuff. So, and with seeing the Ghost in Rise of Skywalker as one of the ships that shows up in the final battle,
it could have been her too.
It could have been her flying it. So Sabine could still be out there, and I'm sure she is somewhere. but she says in Rebels that she doesn't want the power of ruling Mandalore, which is fine, but you still have to let Bo-Katan beat you in a battle in order for her to rightfully run Mandalore. And the Darksaber gives, basically tells everybody that you're in charge of Mandalore, and that's why it's so important to somebody like Bo-Katan, whose sister was Duchess of Mandalore for many years, and she's in we meet her in the Clone Wars and things, and then, and then Darth Maul happens. So you should definitely check out the Clone Wars if you want to learn more about the Darksaber and the Mandalorians in general. But if you take that and use it for this, then I guess by beating Din Jarin, Bo-Katan will feel that she's rightfully earned the Darksaber, even though technically Din Jarin isn't the owner of it anyways. And so Din Jarin could lead Mandalore, but he's not technically the rightful owner of the Darksaber. So in a way, I don't think he should be beaten for it either. I think technically Sabine needs to still be beaten for the Darksaber.
Do you think that will come into play at all? Do you think Sabine will show up?
I think Bo-Katan is too self-centered and too arrogant to truly understand the nature of the Darksaber. And I mean, I'm just speaking from what I understand about the Darksaber and the things that I've learned from watching the Clone Wars and whatever. But there's a time where they say that you have to be bested in battle to wield the Darksaber, and Darth Maul beats the previous owner. Maul gets it. Then Ahsoka beats him. And then, so Ahsoka wields it at one point, and then she loses it, and then, Sabine gets it, and then, or does Sabine beat Maul? However that works.
It's kind of been handed down, sort of, like, it's going to different people and stuff.
And it's one thing to just hand it over, it's another thing to be beaten.
Right.
And that's why they say, I mean, I guess if everyone's okay with accepting Bo-Katan as their leader if she beats Din Djarin, then fine, I guess. But I just feel like I don't think she's ever gonna mention like, oh, I need to go beat Sabine. Like, I don't think Sabine will come up just in conversation.
Right. Plus, there's not that many Mandalorians left to really question
I mean, there's
her
still
anyway.
A good bit.
I know there's not like
many.
the whole planet like there was, that one
but
time.
But even and you don't just have to be a Mandalorian to wield it, obviously, because Darth Maul held it.
Moff Gideon.
And Moff Gideon, but she probably feels that since Din Djarin is technically an outsider that was brought in as a kid, basically as a foundling,
he doesn't deserve it.
He doesn't deserve to be the ruler of Mandalore, which I mean is a fair point. But I do see now. I could see Sabine showing up to basically say that, like, I didn't give you the Darksaber for you to then turn out like this. I wanted you to be a good ruler of Mandalore, and you basically led your people to slaughter during the Jedi Purge, which, I mean, I could well, it was after the Purge, but whatever. Whenever Mandalore fell. So I guess in a way you could say that Sabine might want the Darksaber back, and she might show up, but I don't think she will be, like, I don't think Bo-Katan will be the one to seek out Sabine in order to challenge her for the
right, because she's too selfish, and I think a lot of her resentment toward Din Djarin now is because she's been trying to get to Moff Gideon for who knows however long it's been,
right? Especially
when we first see her in season 2, because that's kind of what her and Din Djarin have, the same enemy and stuff in Moff Gideon,
right?
So part of her resentment would be like, well, I've been trying to get the Darksaber from him all this time, and then here's Din Djarin just coming in and besting him in a battle, and he technically gets it, and she's mad about that. We kind of even saw that in the end of season 2, I mean, that last episode and stuff, because she tells him, like, you are now in charge of the Darksaber, but you can tell she's mad about it.
Well, and I think the best part was Moff Gideon knew what he was doing, and if you rewatch the battle, if you rewatch the battle, Moff Gideon could have very easily beaten Din Djarin, even with the Beskar spear that Din Djarin had.
Right.
The Darksaber was still like if you watch closely, the spear is still turning red as if it's melting from the heat of the Darksaber. So he very easily could have beaten Din Djarin, but he knew what it would cause if he lost. He knew that Bo-Katan would want the Darksaber and would have to then turn on who at the time was her ally.
True.
And then also it would also cause Bo-Katan more grief because now, like, I couldn't beat him, but this guy who's not Mandalorian in my eyes comes in and beats Moff Gideon for the Darksaber. So in a way, it was a double win for Moff Gideon.
Right.
Sure, he loses the Darksaber, and yeah, he probably goes to prison for the New Republic, but at the same time, it's like you just caused all this crap to happen because of you losing the Darksaber to Din Djarin. So in a way, I think it worked out and benefited Moff Gideon to just lose that battle in the long run.
Like he did it on purpose, kind of thing. Yeah.
And he kind of withdrew from the battle, which allowed Din Djarin to wield the Darksaber.
See, and I think he's going to end up coming into play in this as well. Like, I think maybe Bo-Katan might end up, like, working with, or helping Moff Gideon escape prison or something, because she needs his help to take down Mando, kind of thing. It might be one of those, like, unholy alliance kind of things, and then she'll either realize the error of her ways, or she'll end up fighting with Din Djarin at the end of the season, whatever. I don't think we're done with Moff Gideon just yet, and that's why I think, like, at least for this season, it seems like it's building toward Bo-Katan being the main villain kind of thing. Or these random pirates that were in it this first episode.
Well, or both.
Or both, yeah. But it just seems like she's going to play some kind of role in, either she's going to cost Din Djarin his chance to become a Mandalorian again in some way, like maybe blow up the mines.
He did tell her his plan.
If there are any mines left or whatever. Or she'll try to get him killed at every turn. Everywhere he goes, somebody will be there to kill him. But it'll be because of her, and we won't find that out till the end, or something like, there's secret villain plans that you get. Something like that.
Or she'll hire somebody to
a bounty
like
hunter
that wants the Darksaber or something. Maybe she'll hire somebody. And you brought up the pirates. Maybe she'll go to them and be like, I know that you're looking for him. I know where he is. Go to Mandalore, find him. Stop him from going to the mines, whatever. Maybe she'll try to kidnap Grogu, because that always works out. Kidnapping Grogu and stuff. But at the same time, I honestly hope that we get more of Team Boba Fett showing up in this, because if Din Djarin needs help, Boba Fett kind of owes him at this point.
Yeah.
So, you got Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, Chris Anton, all those people. So you could have that. Whether or not it'll happen now, I don't know.
Or it'll be them versus this other group of Mandalorians that team up with Bo-Katan or something like that as well, to try and take back.
But Bo-Katan did tell Din Djarin that everybody basically left her, but she could have been lying also.
She could also be allies. She could still have allies with them, or if she explains to them, like, we need to get this Darksaber off of him, he's no longer a Mandalorian, she can use that to her advantage as well, because he revealed that to her, that he's no longer considered a Mandalorian, so they could kind of use that fact against him as well, and she could convince her people to help her get it back, basically, and try and take down Mando. Maybe that'll be the whole rest of the season. Will be different Mandalorians start going after Din Djarin and Grogu and stuff. Well, you could have that as well.
Din Djarin, I don't think truly wants to be the ruler of Mandalore. I think he just wants to.
I don't even think he wants the Darksaber either.
The thing. Right, and he doesn't really want the Darksaber, but he knows he can't get rid of it unless he's bested in battle. So I think he would be willing to fight Bo-Katan if she challenged him to a fight. Whether or not he would let her win, I don't know. But I think if it did come down to the point where she challenges him to a fight, he's not going to turn and say no, because he doesn't want it anyways. He never wanted it. The only reason he fought against Moff Gideon was because Moff Gideon was trying to get to Grogu. So
and you see too in those episodes, I think it was the first episode that he was in the Book of Boba Fett, that one that was solely based about the Mandalorian. I think it was called The Mandalorian Returns or something. It was episode 5 or whatever, the Book of Boba Fett. he uses the dark saber against these group of people that are doing whatever he's trying. He's basically going out for bounties or whatever in that episode, and he kills these people with the dark saber, but he has trouble using it, and it's heavier for him and everything else. He ends up cutting his own leg with it, I think.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to use it
when
yet.
he unsheathes it and stuff. So he doesn't know how to use it. I feel like we should be seeing more of him training with it, but I don't think it's going to play a big role in, like, because he doesn't want to use it anyways.
No.
But I think it's the purpose of it is maybe that's even that could even be another reason Bo-Katan would be mad at him too. It's like you have this ultimate weapon right here and you're not even using it. It's basically just like either sitting in his pocket or whatever, or he leaves it in the ship. So it's kind of a thing like he only prefers using guns and stuff, but maybe she'll look at it as like, well, why do you want this? Why are you keeping it from me? Even though he did technically try to give it back to her. He tried to deny it when she gave it to him, and she's like, no, you have to take this now because you won it in battle.
See,
I can't take this.
And that's another thing. She understands now why the downfall of Mandalore came in the first place. It was because somebody who was unrightful to wield the Darksaber was in charge of Mandalore, and that was the Mandalorian, fables, basically, was that if somebody unworthy of, basically like Thor and Loki, if somebody unworthy of wielding the Darksaber runs Mandalore, the unrightful owner of the saber, somebody who takes it without winning it in battle, runs Mandalore will fall. And Mandalore fell under Bo-Katan's reign as ruler of Mandalore when she had the Darksaber. So I guess now she realizes that it was her fault that her planet, that her home got wiped out because she wasn't the rightful owner of the Darksaber. And then when she lost it to Moff Gideon, and then she knew she had to beat him again for it, and then Din Jarin wins it and tries to give it back to her, and she understands now that it has to be won in battle in order for her to rightfully be the ruler of Mandalore. So I kind of like that aspect that they threw that in there, for her to understand at this point that she has to win it in battle in order to be the rightful ruler of Mandalore, so that this doesn't happen again.
Right, and I guess the ultimate question is, do you think she is the type of person that would be sort of a villain? Like, do you think she's capable of, like, going after Din Djarin and trying to kill him, or do you think she's more of just, right now she's kind of, she's just upset because she doesn't have the Darksaber and she knows she has to fight him to get it back? Or do you think she's going to become a full-on villain, like, by the end of this season kind of thing, and trying to get Mandalore back? Even though Mandalore is really destroyed, but I guess she would roll over what's left of it. I guess the people of
Mandalore is not a place. It is a people.
Right. Yeah. Do you think she's that kind of person?
Well, for me, I think the word villain kind of implies that you're automatically just the bad guy of the series
or something, or in the.
I think that she might be an enemy of Din Djarin for the time being. I don't think that she will officially stay as the villain of the series. Like, I think
it's just a one-off season kind of thing.
If she realizes that Din Djarin needs help defending the name of Mandalore, I think she will still step up and help if she needs it, even if she doesn't like Din Djarin, because she'll do it for her people. But to say that she's going to be the full-on, like, new Palpatine type villain,
I don't think
she's going that direction. Like, I think, yes, she is the type of person, from what I've seen in the Clone Wars and Rebels, and now again in the Mandalorian, the first couple times we've seen her, yes, I do think she is the type of person that has her own interests, in mind when she does things. But I don't think that she's willing to sacrifice everything else in order to achieve her goal. Like, I think she knows there's a time and a place for her to challenge Din Djarin, and right now isn't the time. So I think she might do it when he's trying to focus on the Mandalorian or the Mandalore stuff, trying to find the water and stuff, and then challenge him on Mandalore. That way it's kind of more important for her that, like, you know,
Right.
I bested him on our home planet. But yeah, I don't think she's going to be like the next big bad, if you will. But she can definitely, she has the resources and the willpower to be an enemy of Din Djarin, at least for the time.
At least for this like one season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I don't think she's gonna be like a long-term villain, but I think like it'll be one of those things like by the end of the season she'll realize the error of her ways or something. Like I said, if she releases Moff Gideon from prison or something because she knows he can take down Mando, and then at the end he turns on her or something, then it'll be kind of one of those things. Like she realizes the mistake she made, and now they have to go after Moff Gideon again or something like
Right.
that to set up season 4 or whatever. I think focusing on the dark saber and stuff, I mean that's the only reason she would be a villain. And then after that, if they start focusing on going a different direction with the next season of the series or whatever, less focus on the Mandalorian stuff and more on like the new empire that's being built, and you know, which is basically the what were they called in the
New Republic,
the
First Order.
the First Order is
Yeah.
basically what it's building to, you know, stuff
Yeah,
like
'cause
that.
this is between
They'll
6 and
start
7.
going that direction, but I think for now, in one season, in at least this season, she'll probably be like the main kind of villain,
Antagonist.
and main antagonist,
be a
I guess
better
is what
word
I
to
should
use.
say.
Yes.
But that's why I went with specifically this season, because of what we've seen so far, just from this first episode, the way she seemed to resent Din Djarin and everything else. But let us know what you guys think down in the comments section. Do you think Bo-Katan will end up being a bad guy or an antagonist this season? Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more.
Remember, leave the scumbaggery at home, and may the Force be with you.
This is the way.